Hey guys, what's up? My name is Alicia if you're new here, and in today's video, I'm going to be doing a update to my Makeup Addict project. Now, if you're not familiar with this project, I pick out like 10 to 15 eyeshadow palettes, and I also pick out some face palettes as well, which I did in this round of this project. But basically, I pick out a few products that I'm wanting to use, and then I use them like a set amount of times. For the eyeshadow palettes, it's 5 times each. For the face products, I've been doing 10 times each before I will roll those out. And yeah, this has just been a way for me to really like hone in on my collection, really look at what I have and make sure that I'm using what I have, rotating through my different eyeshadow palettes. And this has just been really fun for me. I highly recommend if you have a larger collection. I think that this is so fun to do. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and go through the eyeshadow palettes and the face palettes that I had in the last project. I'll kind of give you some thoughts and things on those, and then I'll show you what I'm going to be using the next rotation. All right, so the way that I have been doing these is I'll show you the ones, like as far as like my usage limit, like the ones that I get to there first. So the first palette that I got to 5 uses with was from Pat McGrath. This is the Celestial Divinity palette. This was like her first holiday release. And I still love this color story. I think it is so beautiful. I actually dipped into this for this matte shade quite a few times as well, but these shimmers are absolutely stunning. I used all 3 of these. I also used this purple one. That is gorgeous. Paired these 2 together. So nice. Let me just show you how pigmented these are as well. I think these are just so nice to work with. Love that taupey plum type of a shade. That is like my jam right there. But yeah, this one, so easy to get to 5 uses with, and I did cut it off at 5. Some of these you'll see I actually used more than 5 times, just because. All right, next up was the Kylie Batman palette. I love the packaging of this one. I think this is one of my funnest like packaging type deals that I have. It looks like a comic book, and then when you open it up, that is continued on the inside. But this one has actually got a lot of everyday shades, and these were actually the ones that I found myself continuously dipping into. I did use this brown shimmer. I also used this green quite a few times, but for the most part, I was dipping into this for these more everyday type of shades. Here, this one is actually gorgeous on the inner corner, and that again was one of the main reasons that I used this palette up so quickly. I did only use this one 5 times as well. All right, I feel like I always want to have a Lunar Beauty palette in these rotations, but this one right here is the Nude Prism palette, and it is a nude lover's dream. It is everything that you need. So you've got 2 rows of mattes, and then you have got all of these shimmers right here. These shimmers do feel more kind of like a cream to me. They are extremely pigmented, so easy to work with. Love all the different tones in the matte shades as well. I used this one yesterday, actually. I used this pink, and yeah, just absolutely beautiful. This one I ended up using 7 times. All right, next up is from Odin's Eye. This is one of their like holiday releases from 2022. This is the Christmas Eve palette, and the shimmers from Odin's Eye, if you are not familiar with them, they are absolutely stunning. I dipped into this shade quite a few times. I also dipped into this palette for some of the matte shades. They work beautifully as well. But yeah, the standout in these palettes are the shimmers for sure. I also dipped into this blue and got so many compliments that day. So highly recommend if you haven't tried an Odin's Eye palette and you find a color story that you like, I don't think you can go wrong with those. All right, and then from Marc Jacobs, I told you guys I also wanted to always have a Marc Jacobs palette because Marc Jacobs Beauty is no longer, and I have so many Marc Jacobs Beauty products. It was like one of my favorite brands. I'm so mad that they went out of business. But anyway, this is the Scandalous. They didn't go out of business, but they quit with the beauty. I don't know if they're ever going to bring that back. I really wish they would. But these eyeshadow palettes from Marc Jacobs that come in this format with like 7 different shades, I feel like you can use every single eyeshadow in that palette and create a very cohesive look. They are so easy to use. They always look so beautiful when you actually apply them to your eyelid. They look airbrushed. I feel like if you have wrinkles on your eyelids, they like blur all of that out. These are so fantastic. This shade looks like nothing, but it is so beautiful when you put it on the eyelid. It looks like your lid is just like glowing. So smooth, so beautiful, so reflective, so good. All right, next up is a fun one. This one is from Urban Decay. This is the Stoned Vibes palette. This one, the worst part about it is that it's not that easy to store because the gemstones or whatever on here really do like stand up on the palette, but absolutely beautiful packaging. Love the packaging of this one. Honestly, I will put up with it because it's so pretty. But on the inside, you are getting a bunch of different like shifty topper type shades in these 8 right here. You do have a few mattes on the outer corners. The mattes do perform beautifully. I have used those. I used those in a look yesterday. Nothing wrong with the mattes, but the star of the show is these shimmers. You can layer them on top of each other, really get like a custom eye look. They're so dimensional, but yet very, again, easy to work with. And I think that's really what is key here. So good. This one, I actually ended up using 6 times. The Marc Jacobs, I didn't mention, I used that one 5 times. And yeah, that puts us back on track. Right, next up is one of my favorite palettes in my whole collection. But honestly, even after using it in this project, it's just one that is not that easy for me to use. It's not that easy for me to come up with looks using this palette. But this is it right here. This is from Lunar Beauty as well. This is the Moonspell palette. I did do a look where I was using some more of these like grungy greens, and I really loved that. I also used these 2 here. Love these shades here. I didn't really go into the top row, and I don't know why, because I love purples. For whatever reason, these just kind of intimidate me, and I don't know why. But anyway, I still love this palette, but it is not one that is super easy for me to use and come up with looks with, and I just had to mention that. Still love it though. I think the packaging, again, if you haven't seen this palette, it's absolutely stunning. It looks like a nice like book, and then it's got like a little sleeve that you put it in. Super cool. All right, next up is from Natasha Denona. Again, I feel like this is probably a brand I need to just continuously keep in this project because their palettes are so expensive. They are so nice. It's one of my favorite formulas to work with, and I feel like I should be using them. But this is the Love palette again. This was like around Valentine's Day, so I thought this would be perfect palette to go into that project, and I really did enjoy using this one. I used this red quite a bit and loved it. I also really enjoyed this dark purple right here. I thought it really made a lot of the looks that I did using this pop, and even mixed with other palettes, I just loved the addition of that dark plummy shade. This is a gorgeous shade as well. Everything was super easy to work with as usual with Natasha Denona. This actually isn't my favorite color story from her, but I am happy that I got a little bit of use out of it. And then second to last was the Gemini palette, which is so strange because I love Melt and I love the Gemini palette. I feel like for me, this is more of just like a fall type of a palette, and so that's why I wasn't really pulling towards this one a whole lot. I will say I did stick more in this range when I used this palette, and yeah, I just think this one is more fall for me, and that's all there is to it. But I did love the looks that I created with it. Last up is from Jeffree Star, and again, I just picked this out because I thought that these shades would be nice during this time of year because they do have a lot of like pinks and purples, and again, it was Valentine's Day or around Valentine's Day when I picked these palettes out, and I had a lot of fallout one day and it kind of ruined makeup day at work. So that was not the best. And then honestly, these shades are just not shades that I go to really every day. This palette is very uneasy to work with just because of how bulky and the packaging itself. But I mean, I do love it. It's something unique and special in my collection. I do love a few of these shimmers in here. I used this shimmer and it was absolutely beautiful. That was probably my favorite look that I did with this palette. Otherwise, I used these mattes a few times, but yeah. I'm honestly not surprised that this one came in last, and I definitely only used this one 5 times. Natasha Denona Love, I didn't mention as well. I used that one 6 times. All right, so that is it as far as the last eyeshadow palettes that I used. I'm going to show you guys the face products that I was focusing on as well. All right, so for the cheek products, I think I only like started out initially with 3, and then as this project kept going on, it was taking me a while to get through all these eyeshadow palettes. So I had already used face palettes, and then I was like, holy crap, I need some more things, you know, to test out while I finish up these eyeshadow palettes. So I added a few more in as well. So we're going to go over the ones that I started with initially. So first off, I started with the Benefit Cheek Leaders palette, and I absolutely love this one. You have got a lot of like full size everyday favorites from Benefit. So you've got the classic Hula bronzer, you've got the Dandelion, you have Dallas. These 3 are very, very popular, like staple shades from Benefit. And then you have got 2 newer ones here. So you have got this Tickle highlighter. It looks like it's very pink, but it's actually very like gold toned once you actually have it on. And then you have got this shimmery coral blush in the shade California. Yeah. So there it is. There is very beautiful, bulky packaging. It does come with a little brush that goes in that little hole there. I never use that, but this was very easy to get to 10 uses with. I actually used this 11 times. Next up is the Pat McGrath highlighter trio. And this one, again, was very easy to get to 10 uses with. This one I only used 10 times, but yeah, you were getting a more bronzy tone, you're getting a gold, and then this one is like a very pink shifting shade. I would usually go between these 2 and apply it to the face, and then between these 2 and apply it to the body. And I also would dip into either of these for inner corner highlights. This one, again, super nice formula. I feel like you can really tell the use I got with this because it didn't look like that at all. It looked untouched before I started this project with this product here. So I'm very happy with that usage. Next up and last initially that I started with was the Kylie Cosmetics. This is the Pressed Powder Face Palette. It just has a few of her like staple shades again. So you've got Toasty Bronzer, Baddie on the Block Blush, and then Ice Me Out and Cheers Darling highlighters. For the highlighters, I typically would go in between these 2. I used this bronzer the most out of this palette. I would say these 3 products here. I only actually used this blush like 1 time. I just really prefer the 3 other shades. There's nothing wrong with this blush. I thought it was beautiful, but yeah, I definitely think I got the most use out of this. Again, you can tell the use that I got with this. It, again, looked untouched before I threw it in this project. This one I used 12 times. All right, and then I threw in the Benefit Cheek Stars. I actually only ended up using this 5 times, so I am rolling this into my next project as well. And this is the color story here. So you have got, these two are newer blushes to Benefit. This is the Sugar Bomb and the Georgia blush. This one is very, very light and shimmery. It's almost more of like a blush topper to me. And then you've got, again, the classic Hoola bronzer. I also threw in the Park Avenue Princess. I have used this one 5 times, and again, I am rolling this one into my next project as well. This one has got multiple different bronzers, some matte, some shimmer, and then you've got like 2 highlighting / setting shades in here as well. I have used all of these. All of these are very workable on my skin tone, very easy to use. Love the packaging of this as well. I think it is absolutely stunning. And again, I cannot wait to continue to use that one. I also pulled in, this is actually from a holiday collection from Ulta. This is from Too Faced, and this is like the top portion. It's a little like snow girl, and each different part was a different thing, like face palette, eyeshadow palette. This is a little face duo here. And this one is a highlighter and bronzer. I basically would mix these two together and use it like on the body. So like when I was wearing a dress with like my sleeves out or my shoulders out or something like that, I would apply this. It's not the best formula, but yeah, that's how I think I will continue to get use out of this. I actually ended up using this 13 times. So this one I'm going to be done with as of now. And then last up, I think I'm going to continue to use this one, but this is from Jouer Cosmetics, and it is a Radiant Translucent Powder. It comes in this little pink sleeve. That's why I pulled this out for like Valentine's Day, you know. And this again looked untouched whenever I pulled it out. You can see how much use I have gotten out of this. It has hit major pan now. I have used this 5, 10, 15, 20, 24 times. So yeah, I am loving this. I think it is so easy to use. It has no shimmer detectable in it, but it makes everything just look glowy and dewy and healthy. And yeah, I think I'm going to continue using that. But that is everything from my prior round. Now we're going to go ahead and go into what I'm using this go round. So I recently did a video where it was like, what palettes inspire you for spring? And so a lot of the palettes that I chose for this rotation are from me pulling those palettes because it is springtime and those are shades that I'm wanting to use right now. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and mention one that I may honestly declutter after this go round, but this is from Too Faced. This is the Too Femme palette. I've only used this 1 time. I did actually use it today though, so now it's 2 times. But I had just remembered this not being an eyeshadow formula that I was digging or vibing with, and yeah, I don't know. I thought I would throw it in this project. That way I could see, you know, if my feelings had changed, if I still felt the same way. And if I did at the end of this rotation, I'm going to go ahead and declutter it if I still feel that way. All right, next up is one, again, that I feel like I've only used this one the 1 time that I did the video on this palette. And that is from MAC. This is the MAC Haute Couture palette. And it is a very everyday color story, and that's why I picked this one. I wanted one that I could kind of go into every day, not have to think about. And I thought the shades in this one were very stunning. I love this like copper shade here. I think that would be so fun to play in. But yeah, I also love MAC eyeshadows. If you guys are new to this channel, I really, really love MAC products. Speaking of MAC, I also picked out another MAC palette. This is MAC in collaboration with Elle, and I don't remember who Elle is. I think it's like an Instagram model or something. I'm not sure, but I love the packaging of this. For one, we've got purple, we've got glitter, we have got neon green. Then you open it up, and this is the color story here. Hope that I'm not blinding you guys. It's going to be hard to pick up on the actual shades just because of this packaging, how reflective it is, but a lot of just shimmery, fun, shifty type of shades that I think would be perfect for this time of year. All right, I mentioned that I always want to have a Lunar Beauty palette in rotation, and so I picked this one for the springtime. This is Strawberry Dream, and I thought this would be the perfect time because look at the shades in this palette. I think that this shimmer right here is super fun. So it is very, very shifty, and I'm just going to apply some of that so you can see it's like a silvery blue shift. So fun. And it also looks like it has some purple in there as well. The camera is not doing it justice. But yeah, I thought that this would just be a really fun one with a lot of those berry and blue tones as well. All right, and then one that was super expensive, and I just want to make sure I'm getting my use out of this one. I also think it is a super fun palette. It's from Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the All I Ever Wanted palette. This is 100% shimmer palette. There are a ton of very, very shifty shades in here. You've got a bunch of different formulas and textures in this palette, and I cannot wait to dip into this one. So I think this is so fun. I cannot wait, like I said, to continue using that one. If you guys want to see any tutorials with that one, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. And then this one I feel like is a super throwback, but this is from Beauty Bay in collaboration with Nikki Tutorials. So you've got like a bright, happy side, and then you've got like this dark, grungy side, right? You open it up, you do have mirrors on here, but if you open up the whole entire palette, this is what it looks like right here. The main reason that I picked this palette was for this pink shade right here. Let me give you guys a swatch of this one. So it is super smooth, super reflective and intense, super shimmery. Oh my god. This is just, it's stunning. It's absolutely stunning. All right, speaking of Marc Jacobs, I told you guys I always want to have one of these in rotation. I really want to make sure I'm getting use out of these palettes because they were so pricey. This one is the Extravagance Variation Color Story, if you will. This is what it looks like here. There are, I don't even think I've ever used this one, to be honest with you, but there are a bunch of very, very like shimmer heavy shades right in the center. I thought this would be so fun. You could also do a very easy like smoky eye, and yeah, I just thought this one would be stunning. All right, next up is another brand in general that I just want to make sure if I have products from them I am using, and that is Charlotte Tilbury. So this is the Bejeweled Eyes palette. I think I've only used this like 1 or 2 times. Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows are very stunning. I feel like they're very pigmented, easy to work with, blendable, all of that, but they're also very smoothing and just flattering on the eyes. And so I'm very happy to dig into this one. All right, and then I have 2 newer palettes to my collection. One of them I have on today, and the other one I have never used, but the palettes that I'm talking about are from Addict Cosmetics. The one that I have on today is the Minka eyeshadow palette, and that is the shimmer that I have on. I think that the shimmers are probably where this brand really stands out. They feel unlike any other shimmers that I have touched. They are absolutely stunning. And yeah, this is the Minka palette here. Now the other one I can't really speak on, like I said, because I haven't used it, but it is the Plain Jane palette. Love the packaging of this one, and I love that this one is 100% shimmers, and I think they are just gorgeous tones for this time of year. All right, and then from Pat McGrath, this is the Celestial Nirvana palette. This is the one that released in 2022, so her most recent holiday collection. And again, I thought the shades on this one were absolutely stunning. I used this shade multiple times. Absolutely beautiful. And I just can't wait to go into some of these cooler tones for this time of year. I also love that this one is very colorful. It's got a lot of colorful mattes though. And so I feel like this could really go well with like a lot of the other palettes in this rotation. All right, and then from Natasha Denona, this is probably like my most unused, so I guess my least used palette from Natasha Denona would be a better way to word that. This is the Tropic palette. I caught this one on sale. This is a $129 eyeshadow palette. I purchased it for like 60 bucks, so I feel like not so bad. But this one does have a lot of just everyday mattes. I thought that this matte purple down here would be very nice to work with. I love this shimmery blue here, although that's not like a color that I go to all the time, but I do. It's almost kind of like a minty green even, but I do love that shade in this palette. These yellows are very brightening as well. This one is very nice on the inner corner, but yeah, I thought that this would be just a nice one to pull out and use as well. All right, and then from Glamlight, again, I thought this would be a nice one to kind of mix even with other palettes. This is the Dirty Martini palette from the Happy Hour collection that they released. And I mean, I think that the shades in here are stunning as well. Love this like bronzy shade, but this green right here is really doing it for me. That is like a mint type of a green, and then I love this green over here as well. That's more of like a muted grungy type of a green. Oh yeah, and then here is the more minty. Oh, all right, we only have 2 more eyeshadow palettes to mention. Next up is from Too Faced. This is the Sweet Peach palette. I had purchased this palette a long time ago, like forever ago, from eBay, and I think it was like a fake one. So when I saw this real one on sale at Ulta, I picked it up, and honestly, I've never even used this one, I don't believe. So here it is, and I just want to get some good use out of it. It still smells so good. It still smells so peachy and just delicious. These shades, I did swatch a few of them. They swatched absolutely beautifully. And yeah, I cannot wait to go into this one. Love the cooler tones in here. Love the peachy shades as well. There are a lot of great just everyday matte shades that I can use in collaboration with these other palettes. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to using this one. I love the packaging of these Too Faced 10 palettes as well. And then last up is another one from MAC. This is the Regal Rose palette. This is from this year's holiday collection 2022. Loved these releases, and I think that this palette is absolutely stunning. There's only a few shades in here, I know, but it's really for these two right here that I picked this palette. They are just so beautiful. I feel like this, it's like a very like purple, like a light lavender shimmer topper. And then this one, if you put this one just all over the lid, your lid will look wet and glossy, and it's just the best thing ever. But yeah, that is all 15 eyeshadow palettes that I picked out for this go round. It is going to take me quite a while to go through these. I think last time I only picked like 11 or 12 eyeshadow palettes. So this one's probably going to take me even longer, obviously, to get through all of these. But I just really wanted to pull these and kind of focus on them. Now let's go through the face products that I plan on focusing on. All right, I know I've already mentioned that I am going to roll in the Park Avenue Princess from the last rotation into this one. It's coming in with already 5 uses. And then the Benefit Cheek Stars is also from the last rotation. I have used this one 5 times towards this rotation. And again, this is what it looks like here. All right, now we're going to go ahead and go into the new products. All right. First off is one that I used to love. This one is from MAC as well. This is the Hyper Real Glow. They still sell this one. It comes in a bunch of different varieties. I can't remember what this one is called, but this is a collection of their highlighters. Again, MAC highlighters are one of my favorite things that MAC creates. So this one is absolutely stunning. Looks wet and like icy on the cheeks. So pretty. From BH Cosmetics, this is kind of a random one, but I remember really loving this one when I used it. So this is from Alondra and Elsie. I think they were on YouTube. I don't know. This is kind of old, but I absolutely love the shades in here. You've got a contouring type of a shade. You've got a bronzer. You've got a blush and a highlighter. This highlighter is not my favorite. I really prefer this for these 3 shades, but preferably like these 2. I think they're like perfect shades for my skin tone. And again, this is from a very affordable brand. Is BH Cosmetics even still around? I feel like I never see or hear anything about them anymore, but BH Cosmetics, all the products I have tried from them are like top notch, super blendable, creamy, easy to work with, pigmented, all of that. All right, and then Jacqueline Cosmetics, I have 2 palettes from her. This is from the Rouge Romance collection. So this one is Rouge Affair, this one is Rouge Romance, and basically what these are blush palettes. So they come with 6 different blushes. Now this one in the Rouge Affair is the more cool toned type of options. You do have some warmer shades in here as well, but overall cool toned. This is probably the one that I would gravitate towards the most, surprisingly, because this one has a few shades that I really love as well. This is the Rouge Romance, and this is more of the warm toned shades. And this one, I would really kind of gravitate towards these 2, but everything in here is absolutely beautiful as well. These are matte palettes, so that is something to keep in mind. But yeah, I just thought that these would be fun to use and play with during the like spring, early summertime. All right, and then I have been on a blush kick. I picked up several blushes from Benefit Cosmetics during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, but the 2 that I wanted to focus on right now are the Willa Box Blush and the Shelly Box Blush. So this one is more of like a cool toned mauve pink, and then Shelly is going to be more of like a corally peach type of a shade. For bronzer, this is one that I've had in my collection for a while. I wanted to do a video with, and I just haven't yet. So I figured if I pulled it into this project, it would spark me to do that video. And this is the Mario Cosmetics. This is the Soft Sculpt Transforming Skin Enhancer. So this is the one that is more of like a cream for you to really sculpt out the face. A lot of people, from what I have seen, really love this one, so I'm very interested to try this one out. And then last up is a powder that I recently picked up in the Sephora VIB sale. This is the Givenchy. This is the Prism Libre powder. I have mine in Rose, which is variation number 3, and everything that I have seen with this powder, it is just a super softening, blurring type of a powder. It's brightening, and yeah, I've been really into trying different powders lately, and I cannot wait to try this one. I have seen nothing but good things about it. So yeah, that is 10 face products. Now I did want to mention I have 2 Tarte Maracuja lip plumps that I just have and I haven't used yet, so I am gonna throw these in and be using these as well. I have a white peach, and then I also have peachy beige, so I will be using these as well. Let me know what you guys think. Do you do any projects like this to rotate through your collection? Let me know if you guys want to see videos with any of these products. I would love to do it for you. And until next time, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye.